thought I'd tag along. It's quite an interesting car and it's a lovely day, so...
Yeah, alright then mate, should be fun.
You join me behind the wheel of a 2013 Mini Cooper S Roadster. The Roadster is essentially the convertible version of the Mini Cooper Coupe. This is all part of the second generation of BMW Mini. Now, the second generation came out way back in 2006, but they didn't introduce the Roadster until 2012. They actually only sold it for 3 years, so only up until 2015. So it's quite a rare and unusual car. You'd be forgiven for basically forgetting that it existed or not knowing that it existed. Essentially, it's like the Mini Cooper Convertible, only it's strictly a two-seater. There are no back seats, which is fine because the Mini Convertible, the back seats were pretty small and not that useful. So this whole car, it looks a little bit more sporty. The roof is further forward, the whole canopy is further forward, and then you've got the boot sticking out the back. And the boot is actually much bigger than the one in the convertible, so you immediately have an advantage there of a slightly more practical car than the convertible. You also have a more unusual car, which is always good in my opinion. An interesting thing about the second generation BMW Mini is, yes, it's a German car built by BMW, but it's designed to look British and it's built in Britain, in Oxford. But the engine in this car is French because it's a Peugeot engine. And the car was designed by the Italians, Ital Design. It's truly a European car, and that's the world we live in now. It's a pretty cold winter's day today, 1 degree outside. It doesn't feel that cold in here. It doesn't feel... feels fine. I've got the heated seats on full and they are really toasty warm. Driving the Mini Cooper around town, it's pretty easy. The steering's quite meaty feeling, and that's without sport mode engaged. The ride is pretty firm, but not completely horrible. It can be a bit jarring over some of these terrible potholes. So the engine, it's a 1.6 litre turbocharged 4-cylinder, puts the power through the front wheels, and it has a 6-speed manual gearbox, although an automatic was available. It's got 180 horsepower, and the interesting thing about the engine is that it has a twin scroll turbo. What essentially that means is, without going into the technicality of it, you get a much smoother power delivery, and you don't get turbo lag like you would with most turbo cars, and that is absolutely vital for a car like this, I think. A car that's designed to be sporty, enjoyable to drive, you don't want turbo lag. So the other engines available was a John Cooper Works version of this car, and that's the sort of sportiest, quickest one they did. You could also get a diesel SD with 145 horsepower, but diesel schmeasel, I mean, why would you want that in a car like this? So what makes this car enjoyable to drive? Well, the four wheels are on all four corners of the car, right out at the edges. The steering is quite weighty, especially in sport mode. It feels like an old school kind of car. You have to manhandle it into corners and stuff. It's not got that lightweight steering that a lot of modern cars have. It's a really fun car. I mean, especially with this Cooper S engine. The brakes are good, they're smooth and linear and progressive, and the more you press them, the more the car slows down. It's not like an on and off switch. Oh, now that I'm doing 50 miles an hour, the rear spoiler's just popped up. It's funny because you can see it just pop up and it takes up some of the rear view vision. So if there's a car tailgating you, then it does a good job of sort of hiding that, and ignorance is bliss. That'll go away again when I get below 40 miles an hour. Also, driving around this part of the country, I can hear wildlife and ducks and birds and things, and it's a different experience to driving around in a hardtop. With the wind deflector and the windows up, you don't really get anything blowing you about, you know. So even when you go in at higher speeds, I mean, I'm just tootling around now, but even at higher speeds, it doesn't blow your hair around or anything.
The roof is semi-automatic. You have to manually unlatch it, but the rest is done automatically in 10 seconds at up to 20 miles per hour.
Suddenly feels like a dull day now with this roof up. It's quite dark in here, obviously. I mean, it's just convertibles for you, isn't it? When you're reversing sort of back out onto a road, that blind spot's a bit of a pain. Got no Jesus handles. There's nothing to hold on to. Interestingly, the engine sounds quite muted. You don't really hear it that much, but you do get a little sort of rorty noise from the exhaust. In theory, this car will get 47 miles per gallon. I'm sure that's probably possible if you drive incredibly carefully, but you're not going to do that with this car. It's not designed for that. You've also got this sport mode button that when you press it, it weights up the steering and improves the throttle response, and it really does make the difference. If the blind spot's annoying you too much, then just take the roof off. That's the best way. Another interesting thing, when you've got the roof down, there's this thing in front of you that tells you how many hours you've been driving with the roof down. So it's a good incentive to remind you to actually use this feature. What I like about retro design cars like this Mini that's based on the old Mini, and it's the same with the Fiat 500 as well, it's the way the designers just get sort of free rein to have a bit of fun with their designs, and they really did do that with this interior. Obviously it looks very retro. Lots of cool little touches, like the little toggle switches that look like fighter jet toggle switches. The way they've built these heated seat switches into the shape of the rest of it. And you get these toggles up here as well with the little hoops of plastic. You've then got your instrument binnacles in these sort of like circular clusters, and then of course the massive speedometer. The whole interior just looks like nothing else, even down to this little key which looks like a little flying saucer, and it flies into the little landing dock when you put the key in. Also, in addition to the instrument clusters in front of you, you get this slot for the little sat nav that you can take off. Now, it's an old Garmin unit from prehistoric times, so it's not very good, but presumably you can upgrade it to something a bit better. You've got an aux-in port and a USB port down here, which is good, modern. Some small door pockets. There's a ski hatch behind which goes through into the boot. Fairly small area here to store odds and ends on this soft area. Well, this is a two-seat car, but there's 3 cup holders and they're all pretty big. Good size. I mean, it fits this fat bottom bottle fits in any of the cup holders. Try this back one. Yeah, a bit loose in that one. The glove box is quite a good size actually for a small car. Now, there's no centre console cubby or armrests. It's not really a motorway car anyway, this, but you can't like cruise along with your arm on the armrest. You also get this pretty cool little hidden bit of storage as well. Oh, it's got little like pops and bangs on. I don't know if you'll be able to hear them, but oh, yes, it's been designed in sport mode to basically send a little bit of petrol through the exhaust or something like that, so it just pops and explodes in the exhaust and gives it that little sporty sound. Probably kind of annoying for people walking their dogs and stuff, but what's nice about this sport mode is that once you're back into town, you can just turn it off and it stops making the pops and bangs, and the steering gets much lighter, so it's a lot easier to handle around town, and you get best of both worlds really. Big thanks to Simon for lending me the car, and a big thanks to you guys for watching. If you want to watch another video, there'll be one up here and one down here, and then as I navigate this corner here, there'll be my little face down here as well to subscribe. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.